Joyful blessings. This is Kaylin Castell, and I am super excited to share with you about the August 19th, 2024 extra revolutionary Aquarius Perigee super blue full moon being squared by Uranus, and it's on the USA natal moon, pretty exact to the degree. And there's so many amazing factors that are happening with this. I hope I can get this done in a really concise way. So here we go. I just want to say that we are continuing to awaken a revolution of peace and plenty for all. This is what this intent is. We've been seeing how things have been shifting dramatically and radically, and uh, with a big spotlight on the shadow and the things that are not helpful, supportive, kind, um, celebrating life and celebrating people. We've been seeing a lot of the opposite of that, but now we're starting to see some more of this happening. And I think a lot of it depends on how we are within ourselves, whether we're seeing that or not. But it looks like it's starting to really show up in the greater collective reality. So it's very exciting. So here's the chart for the super blue full moon. I'm going to explain a little bit more about why it is a super blue full moon or possibly blue full moon, because there's lots of different definitions of the blue moon. But here we have the sun at 27 Leo opposite the moon at 27 Aquarius, squared by Uranus at 27 Taurus. So it's squaring both the sun and the moon, and also we can see that Mercury's here as well. And I'm going to share a little bit more about how this is conjunct the USA natal moon that's also at 27 Aquarius, and along with a few other factors that are just really amazing. It's like time to blow our minds in a great way, in a way maybe perhaps never has been done before. So the way that I like to tune into this energy is thinking about illuminating beyond ordinary possibilities when we are willing to expand perception into the realm of the extraordinary. So the impossible becomes I'm possible, or I am possible. And if we think about the Uranian energy being very similar to the Aquarian energy, and I've been moving away from using the term rulership or rules because it feels very hierarchical. And I think we need to come into a time where we're looking at these energies. We could say that Aquarius and Uranus are the energy, they're similar archetypal energies. They are resonant energies rather than ruling, Uranus ruling Aquarius. They are resonant energies. And so this resonance is really about taking us beyond the ordinary into the extraordinary. And it is so powerfully aligned. It's just mind-blowing to see what's going on here. We're going to see it a little bit more in a moment, but just want to talk a little bit about, and oh, I did mention that Uranus is square Mercury as well. So pretty close square. So if we think about both Uranus and Mercury, they they might be known to ask why or why not. Why am I doing this? Why am I not doing the things I love and care about? Who do I care? Why do I care or not care about a project, a person, a situation? Tuning into these things. What's that about? Why am I here? Why can't I figure out my purpose? Why not choose something different? Why vote? Why not vote? Why bother? Our every action is a vote for the reality we're creating. And this is something to keep in mind. And I think that this is what these energies are reminding us of. Is like, what are the actions we are taking that is helping to create our reality right now? Why question my reality? Better yet, why not question my reality? And this takes us to that idea of thinking outside the box. Uranus and Aquarian energy, and actually Mercury too, because Mercury or Uranus is maybe the higher octave of Mercury. It's thinking outside the box is one way to talk about that, but we can take it even beyond that and say, well, there's, whatever we might think inside a box of conditioning that we have been brought up with in our culture, then we go outside that box of conditioning and start questioning, why am I doing this? Why am I not doing the things I love and care about? Why do I care or not care, or what's going on? So thinking beyond what we've been conditioned to think. But how about going outside the box? Just not going outside the box, going without the box, like there is no box going past the box. So I think this is an opportunity of this full moon to really energize that more fully in our awareness and our thinking. And because this full moon is with Uranus and Mercury, there's some other things we can remember that these energies will remind us of. And that is the one thing we know for sure is we don't know anything for sure. And that this energy is about breakdown to breakthrough. It's revolution for evolution. It's not just revolution for the sake of changing things up, but for an evolutionary purpose. It's time to question authority or the powers that have been, maybe, and that are currently, the powers that shouldn't be, the powers that are, the powers that are in place at this time. And what is that about? And is that really, is what they're telling us really true? And is, if it's not true, then what is true? How can we go to that deeper sense of expanding our consciousness and awareness and our perception of this reality? Because this full moon is so about that. So questioning authority and questioning everything. Do we just accept what we're being told as being true, or are we questioning it? So this trickster energy is really designed to help us disrupt what we think we know and how we perceive our reality. And we've had some major changes and shifts in the world in the recent weeks. And so that really altered people's reality. So it's just something to keep in mind that there's more reality altering events that are going to happen probably on a global level, but what's going on with us personally. And then the unexpected changes that are already happening in this world are going to continue to happen. And maybe you had them happening in your own personal world, and they're going to happen even more going forward as we expand into a greater way of perceiving and experiencing this reality. And it's just so, so exciting because the old reality is just so boring, and it's just time to be done with it because it's been cruel and harsh and difficult, and it's time to move beyond that. Now, speaking into this moon rise and moon set, one of the things I've done in the past is I like to give you, there's this link, and I'll put it in the show notes, so you can check that out. So be sure you click on the more underneath the video to get to those links. Now, because I've had people ask me like, I don't see they're not clicking on the more button. So click on the more button and you'll be able to see that on in the notes below. So the moon set on August 19th, the full moon rises around 7:24 p.m. and the set will be around 5:33 a.m. And then this gives you the day before and after. Now, of course, this completely depends upon your horizon line. If you have a low horizon line, it will be happening around this time. I have mountains in my eastern horizon, so it's often a good 20 minutes to half hour later than the time that's given. So just know that it might not be exactly that time, but you can look it up for where you are because it's going to be different in different locations. Now, this is a perigee full moon. It's also called a super moon. This is a name that has just taken off and really been jumped on by astrologers and astronomers alike. So meaning that the moon is closest to the earth, and it does have a super impact on the earth, because here we have, you can see here's the earth, here's the moon when it's further away from the earth, and here's the moon when it's closer to the earth. And this has a great impact on the tides, the weather patterns, the magnetic fields of the earth. So these full moons have a bigger impact. And now all full moons have an impact, but we just know that the ones that are closer to the earth, it's going to have a bigger impact. And not only that, it's going to look bigger when it's rising, especially. You notice that when it's rising more than when it's like high up in the sky. So I've given you how many miles away from Earth these full moons are. And then the next four are going to be close enough to be considered a super moon. And the one that's closest is in October, October 17th. But the one that's coming up, August 19th, is still pretty close. So definitely worth tuning into, recognizing that it's having a bigger impact. Now, I thought also that it might be fun. I don't usually put in all the asteroids and other celestial bodies because it's just too much and too confusing to see all of that. But when I noticed that Vesta is here conjunct the sun and Mercury at this full moon opposite the moon, oh, it just was, and also being squared by Uranus, adding to this whole configuration of energy. And if we think about Vesta as the keeper of the sacred hearth, or the sacred fires, the ceremonial sacred space, adding this element of the importance of this as a sacred time to energize our intentions around the power of love to radically change our world. So I feel, because it's all in Leo, and Leo is all about healthy self-love. So when we have healthy self-love, then we can come from a place of greater love, and we vibrate with that love into the world. And that changes everything when there's enough of us that are doing that. So this is a full moon that is definitely on the radar for helping to do that. And it may do it in unexpected ways because, of course, Uranus is also involved, and it's an Aquarius full moon and all of that. But here we have Mercury. We see it as at 26 degrees Leo, with the moon at 27 and Vesta at 27. And it's red, meaning it's retrograde. So it's retrograde and has just made the exact conjunction with the sun. So this is considered to be Kazimi. And Kazimi is an Arabic word that means as if in the heart. So as if in the heart of the sun, or the Mercury's in the heart of the sun at the time of this full moon. It's just another factor that is a wow factor. And because Mercury is the messenger in the heart of the sun at a full moon, it is supercharging Mercury's messenger powers, just 3 or 4 degrees away from Regulus, a magical star marking the heart of the lion. So you can see that this is like, so I can't even believe how exciting this is. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Regulus and the heart of the lion, a little bit more about a few other factors that are wow factors coming up. But first, I just thought I'd show you how this is the USA chart. The birth of the United States is considered to be July 4th, 1776. And this is the chart that I use for that. And here's the moon at 2712 Aquarius, and the full moon is at 2715. Super exact. Of course, that means that the US moon, natal moon, is also being squared by Uranus at this time. And of course, the sun is opposite. So the other factor that looks really interesting on the USA chart is Jupiter going over Uranus, the descendant, and Mars getting ready to cross the US Mars. So there's a Mars return happening in a few days after this exact full moon. And there's a Chiron return. Chiron has already passed natal Chiron once. It's going to pass it again on November 8th. It first passed on April 20th, and it's going to pass again on November 8th. And then the last pass will be February 18th. And I did an extensive video on this to give you all the details of how this is affecting the US chart back in March. I will put a link to that video in the show notes because if you're interested, it's all about what is the shamanic healing process happening in the United States at this time. And we may have some clues about what that is now that's come in unexpected ways. And so we're having this opportunity to heal whatever has been in the way of the intent that the creation of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution hasn't been lived up to so far. So what's in the way of that? And I will just quickly mention, it was 50 years ago in 73, 74, when Richard Nixon had to step down as president. So there's, in the US, so there's an effect that has already happened and we're seeing happen again. All right, so now Sun and Mercury near Regulus. So on this August 19th full moon. And Regulus is at 0 degrees Virgo. It's the heart of the lion in the constellation of the lion. It's at the bottom of often referred to as a backward question mark. The sun is super close. Mercury is here. And the sun and Mercury are within a degree of each other, getting ready to cross Regulus. And Mercury literally is crossing Regulus 3 times during this retrograde. also an amazing feature that has been talked about in some of the other videos I've done with the astral priestesses. So the sun is within 3 degrees, and Mercury is within 4 degrees, and Regulus is the heart of the lion, and it's one of the brightest stars in our night sky. It's one of the 4 royal stars of the ancient alchemists, and or the ancient peoples, and it's closest to the ecliptic, and it's one that can be occulted most often because of that. And it's also connected to the Hall of Records. I often think of it as the records that are within our DNA, so that there's a Hall of Records, but our DNA carries records, so it could also be recognized as that. And if we think of the leonine or lioness or lion or lioness, the leonine heart, the sovereign queen, that this is about dynamic self-love, healthy dynamic self-love, self-reliance, self-determination, self-approval, self-confidence, self-acceptance, self-sufficiency, and self-respect. And this is what part of the energy that is available to us at this full moon to tune into, to see, are we living that? Are we embodying that? And if not, what would it take for us to embody that? Pretty amazing. So whoops, I guess I have the bigger thing. So actually, Regulus is with the sun from August 16th to 29th every year. And it's when it's within 6 degrees of the sun is amplifying that energy. And so here we have the full moon. Here's where we see the moon on August 19th. And it's, again, I love to talk about the difference between the seasonal signs and constellations. The seasonal sign of Aquarius is mostly in the goatfish, because here's Pluto at 1 degree Aquarius right now. And then here's the moon at 27 Aquarius. So the goatfish is over, also known as Capricornus, also known as Capricorn, is overlaying this, the sign of Aquarius is overlaying this constellation. But this is actually going to show up in the water bear. So that's pretty cool. And again, this is around 8 p.m. in my part of the world. So it might be a little bit different. It's just come up over the horizon. The moon has just come up over the horizon at that time. So something else that I just stumbled onto, I've done work with the nakshatras. I'm not a nakshatra expert. I just can share what I have found from other people who work with the nakshatras, that where the moon is, where it is located in the sky, in the constellations of the sky, is the nakshatra Dhanishta. And that nakshatra is from 17 Aquarius to 0 Pisces. And so the moon is going to be in this part of the sky. And this was seen as the bold and confident nakshatra relating to music and dance, as well as to the larger rhythms of life. The shape of this symbol reflects the rhomboid pattern of the stars of this asterism. It is divided into 8 triangles representing the 8 vasus or demigods who preside over Dhanishta. I don't know how to say that exactly. Anyway, and it's seen as having the power to give fame and abundance, and hearing the music of infinite possibilities. And some other things I found about it were that it's the when the moon is here, it's the best time to begin something, start something new, start a new project, or to put your energy into something that is maybe already happening, but you want to just put new energy into that. It has the gifts of insight, listening, and perception of truth. It puts knowledge and theories into practice. It's a good time to really put that knowledge and theories into practice. Is associated with a strong sense of community and social responsibility. So perfect, so amazing, so divinely timed that this is where the moon is on August 19th. If you have planets, angles, or nodes between 17 Aquarius and 0 Pisces, then you have your moon in this nakshatra. And that that's not necessarily, it's not divided by the way that I'm using the seasonal signs to describe the where this is at, 17 Aquarius to 0 Pisces. I'm using the seasonal signs. From a Vedic or sidereal perspective, they would use different numbers for that. So just so you know. And if, so anyway, if you have anything within that range of Aquarius, and I happen to, so I'm very excited about this, then you may excel in roles involving organizing events. I've done a lot of organizing of events in the past, promoting cultural activities, or advocating for social causes. So the other thing I found was that the animal symbol for this nakshatra is the lioness. How perfect is that? And and they say it is the lioness resting majestically. So I put an image of her in here to energize this energy of this upcoming full moon because it's so spectacular. Now, just a little bit more about the blue moon, and I have talked about this in the past, and I also have a video on the blue moon, and I also will put into the show notes if you're interested in doing a deeper dive on that. So some will say that 2 full moons in a month is a blue moon, but that's, and it will only happen every 33 months. We'll have 2 full moons in a month. Now, the original meaning of the moon, and I have a lot of articles and links that talk about this, is that it was 4 full moons in a season. So usually there's a full moon at a solstice or an equinox, and then there'll be 4 full moons before the next solstice or equinox, which is what happened on June 21st. There was a full moon, and then there was another one in the same sign, both in Capricorn, July 21st. And then we have the August 19th Aquarius full moon, and then it will end with the September 17th Pisces full moon. And that September 17th Pisces full moon is on the day the Constitution of the United States was signed in 1787. So that's kind of amazing that there's a full blue moon happening. And it's also a super moon close to the Earth. That'll be another video, but oh my gosh, so many cool things happening. So no matter how you look at it, so it's like 2 full moons in a month, 2 full moons in the same sign, or 4 full moons in a season. And for some reason, I don't understand, I don't quite comprehend, they considered the 3rd full moon in the 4 full moons in a season to be the blue moon. Now that doesn't make sense to me because the 3rd full moon is, you always have 3 full moons every season. I would think it'd be the 4th full moon of the season that would be the blue moon. So again, it doesn't matter how you look at it. It only happens about every 33 months that you will have this happen. So yeah, anyway, another thing I wanted to share was that the Delta Aquariid meteor shower is going to peak on August 28th and 29th. And the moon will be waning, so that's good. It's most visible around 2 a.m. and it's in this part of the sky where the moon just was full. How cool is that? Like, oh yeah. So just something to tune into more about if you're interested and you have clear skies, and go out and check it out. So that wraps us up for this amazing, magical, powerful full moon on August 19. And so I hope it inspires you. If you want the additional articles and videos, be sure and check out the show notes to get, and also if you subscribe, you'll get notified when I do my next video. So here's to a joyous and expansive, revolutionary full moon that changes the world into a greater, more loving place.